Doma Sports Talk Worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now it just dawned on me, that man, the Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury rematch is going to is quickly becoming probably the biggest scandal in boxing history. Now I know that's really hard to say. It's a lot of scandals in boxing history. You go through them yourself. You don't Google some. It's a lot of scandals. But I think this one is fastly approaching the being the biggest in history. It's a lot of things going on, and it's a lot of things that are being ignored. And because they're being ignored, that's what's making it bigger. Because it's like, to what lengths are we going to go to ignore something, right? And it's like, it's funny when, casual fans, like little kids to me. It's like, oh, isn't that sweet? Because they don't know little things. Asking about casual fans when you're talking about, they don't ask much. Right now, casual fans are talking about Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, Hollywood. Mike Tyson's come back. Remember him? That's kind of funny. Because some people think he could really do things, or other things that casuals will talk about. I can remember people didn't care so much about boxing. I used to talk to about soccer and stuff. European dudes that would be worried about soccer, so I get my soccer on to them. But when Fury beat Wilder, hey Fury, all of a sudden we didn't really ever talk boxing until Fury beat Wilder. People, that resonated throughout society, right? We know why, but it just did, right? That also tells you how awesome Deontay Wilder is. And speaking about how awesome Deontay Wilder is, that's what's making people ignore this. It was very, very important for Deontay Wilder to lose for a lot of society, because the man understands what he is. The man was knocking out everybody. Here's something else that people just don't want to fathom, act like it's not pertinent. But the man was never doped. The man is fighting for people to not be doped, paying extra for his fights for people to not be doped, to get checked more often. He's paying extra, which means that's why a lot of people got popped by trying to fight Deontay Wilder, right? About 3 or 4 people got popped. When you fight Deontay Wilder, you're going to get tested, and he's paying extra for that. Actually, you would be on the side of the guy that's not being doped. Look at Mike Tyson right now, explaining he used to use a fake penis to get around doping tests. He was doped, right? Now, we ain't talking about marijuana, but cocaine or anything that's a stimulant is a problem. He was on coke when he went over there and bit Lennox Lewis. Told you. He told you openly, right? I wasn't a big Tyson fan anyway, but I'm just saying his behavior pattern showed you that he was on coke. Same thing with Tyson Fury. I mean, that's why he was popped for coke, by the way. He was popped for coke, popped for nandrolone, and all those things. So, we don't like the guy who has none of these issues. None of them at all. A clean, skinny dude just learned boxing that's knocking people out. Big old dudes. And all we're going to do is disregard them, right? Not only Tyson Fury does these things, he says questionable things a lot. Now, when we're talking about questionable things, I have no problem with somebody quoting the Bible, okay? Because we're quoting the Bible. When you quote the Bible, you're supposed to be sounding funny nowadays because we're living in Sodom and Gomorrah too, right? So when you quote the Bible, people are not going to like it because Satan is ruling nowadays. I told you in Europe they got people driving around in cars with 666 on the license plate proudly. Okay, it's the most favorable license plate in Europe, most places in Europe, right? I know that, I see that, right? So I'm just letting you know, I see that. It's like, damn, you can see 2 of them, but when you see like 15 of them in a day, you're like, damn, that is something. You know what I'm saying? Because most of us won't even get in the car if it got 666 on it, right? But I've talked about that before too. I'm just saying that's the climate that we live in. That's why, when Tyson Fury quotes the Bible and things that are in the Bible, they're not supposed to be favorable. We're in the last days. People are not going to be liking something that's in the Bible because it's not going to be to how people want to live nowadays. That's normal. If you look at the deluge, the flood, how many people were saved? Right? About 8 of them. It is what it is. So what masses of people are doing is going to be wrong. So I have no problem with that. But Tyson Fury is controversial in a lot of ways. So when we're talking about that, and we're talking about what's being ignored in the Tyson Fury fight, you're talking about a heavyweight fight against the two best heavyweights. Anthony Joshua at the time had a loss already, so he wasn't in the top two. So it was against the very best, Wilder versus Tyson Fury. Now, Tyson Fury and his gloves, we ignored that. We know that the Christian Hammer fight was stopped. I watched it again just to show stopped. The man showed his thumb was all out. The gloves are wrong. They had to stop the fight at the beginning before it started to get his gloves right. Looking at everybody, right? Looking at the promoter going over there talking to the referee to smooth things over and telling the crowd. You're looking at the Tyson Fury's father and his uncle, how their faces were. Everybody knew what time it was. So you got caught, right? But that wasn't enough. His training partners, two or three different separate training partners are telling you that he's putting egg weights in the gloves and other things. And taking the padding out, all of those things that are going on. That, doesn't touch anybody's radar either, right? Everybody ignores that. These are sparring partners, right? And when we know that we move the glove up where his fist is at the bottom, we see it. People in boxing, right? People with names. Steve Cunningham is awesome. Awesome cruiserweight. Had Tyson Fury down when he only weighed 204 pounds. Fighting big old Tyson Fury, had him down. Tyson Fury gets up, like always, and mauled him to death. But he had him down and was winning the fight. That guy told you how that was done. Many others, Charles Martin, Errol Spence, great fighters. And they're all being ignored, which is funny. And, it's cool. It's cool if everybody wants to ignore all those things. Now, I've told you from the day after the fight, something else. Forget the gloves. Forget all that stuff. Forget the suit. Something else was wrong with Deontay Wilder on that night. Anybody that watched Deontay Wilder 5 fights or more knows damn well he's not that exhausted early in a fight. And I've been saying it since day one. I don't hear what nobody say. Anybody. I know something was wrong with that man on that night. Simple. No excuses for Tyson Fury, because Tyson Fury is awesome. But he ain't awesome to me right now because he's cheating. And you're way too big and way too knowledgeable to have to cheat. For me, and if anybody who wants him to cheat, right, being that big and have advantages means you have an inferiority complex. Something's wrong with you when you don't care that he has all the advantages. It's like, hey, we have all of the patents for all the inventions for the last 200 years, right? Some people would say that we have most patents for most of the inventions that happened in the last 200 years, but won't say we invented the most stuff in the last 200 years, which means we done some kind of way cheated and got some patents. But we're good with that. You know what I mean? We're good with cheating. But anybody good with cheating means you're inferior. That's what that means. If you're down with cheating, you're inferior. And brothers aren't. Ain't no damn way in the world Deontay Wilder's out there cheating or somebody else of color's out there cheating. We're down, got his back, even if he cheated anyway. Now, if Deontay Wilder fights Tyson Fury again, and he hit him, I'm talking about in his ankle that low, I wouldn't give a damn because he's been cheated so much. If Deontay Wilder don't talk to the press no more, ever, I wouldn't give a damn because he's endured too much. And sometimes you don't turn the other cheek no more. Period. It's like Deontay Wilder should not. Ain't no way you should be talking to the press because the press, you're gonna ignore all of this, and it's very similar. And that's why I know it is what it is. You guys do know what a quid pro quo is. We just watched the president of the United States shake down Ukraine, right? We saw him shake down Ukraine just like he's doing right now. Like, if y'all don't do something for me, you ain't getting your money. Just doing it to Michigan and Nevada right now. If you guys let some absentee ballots go down and people can vote, right, and make it comfortable for people to vote, when you make it comfortable for people to vote, that means a lot of people vote. I don't want that. It's got to be hard for people of color, right? It got to be hard. Got to be hard. They got to stand 2 or 3 hours. That's the whole point here, right? Can't be comfortable. So if you make it comfortable for people to vote, then you ain't getting your money for this disaster that's going down in Michigan and Nevada as well. That's what's happening. And that's the same quid pro quo he did to Ukraine. Hey, you got to do me a favor first, homie, then I'll give you that money you need, right? And then here's the deal. We know that happened. All of the senators knew that happened, and the senators are involved. Lindsey Graham and Nunez were involved in the Ukraine scandal, involved up there asking other people questions, and you are the problem, are involved. Similar to Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Now, some of these uploaders in the internet, bad brothers, talking about it for a long time, right? They'll say something about who had the interview and who did this when they need it, but then they act like they don't hear the rest of the stuff the brothers are talking about, right? Like this. So mainstream has not said a word, which means you're involved. Just like you didn't say a word about the biggest story in boxing for 2 years ago, the racist emails from Ring Magazine over there to Oscar De La Hoya's thing, Golden Boy. Those are two big, huge entities in boxing. That was a big scandal. Ignored by mainstream media. Didn't even touch it on TV. Not at all. You see what I'm saying? At all. You're just like the senators. Nunez and Lindsey Graham. That's what ESPN and Fox is to me. Even though I'm still watching debate shows because I'm old enough to know what I want to see, and what I can dissect what I need and don't listen to the rest. I'm old enough. I'm not impressionable anymore. Probably never was, in my opinion. Never was. But I'm definitely not impressionable. You know what I'm saying? I don't do what everyone does. I do what's right. Period. That's how you need to live. Bottom line is this being ignored, and because this is being ignored, all of these transgressions, right, that Tyson Fury had in that fight, still allegedly, but not much allegedly, but allegedly, that it won't be investigated, that it won't be talked about. They're talking about Mike Tyson right now coming back. It's just not really relevant to boxing, really. It's just, a little sideshow exhibition thing going on. Cool. That's being talked about. A big scandal in the biggest fight of the year, nothing. Nothing. Crickets. That's almost impossible. That is only happening because they want that to happen. Now, back to Deontay Wilder feeling funny. There's reports coming out that it's going to be something coming down. Deontay Wilder's not talking because he's smart. He's know the landscape. This is my brother till this day. Till this day mean he know what time we've been going through this forever, right? He understand what time that is. So why am I talking? Talk to who? Everything I say, somebody asked me about what can happen. I said about my suit, and then it turned it in like I came out talking about my suit after the fight. When somebody asked me, see what I'm saying? Just turned it around to him. So why am I talking to you guys? Like I said again, Deontay Wilder probably would never talk to the press no more. Why? Why? For what reason? It's on. It's a war, basically. It's a civil war, is what it basically is. Because some people don't care if things are wrong. Don't care. Like long as Deontay Wilder lost, which shows me Deontay Wilder is the king, in my opinion. If people like, I'm gonna let somebody that huge with all this skill cheat, and we don't even give a damn. We don't care. Literally, don't care. That means that's a bad dude. Because anybody else, let me just tell you this: if these guys were of the same color, either both white or both black, this would be a scandal that would be talked about. But it won't. Let's go through it again. We got glove issues. We had a guy that was doped before, so he would cheat. He had his gloves 2 or 3 times, plus multiple people who have dealt with him before and understands that he's done that, has been on record telling people that he has done that, understanding that he has cheated, right? And then other things that have come up, right? We have an injury from Deontay Wilder that's not, basically the doctor has told him this can happen from a boxing glove, right? That's an injury. It can't happen from a boxing glove. We've been knowing that for about 3 or 4 weeks, right? All of those things. Think about it. The man has an injury, right? That can't happen from a boxing glove. We have the gloves when we see them. Everybody sees them. But now, do you think mainstream media just don't go on the internet, or their kids don't, or somebody, cousins don't, friends don't, and they're not calling them, telling them that? You know what they tell them when they tell them? Hey, man, I can't talk about that on the air, homie. Sorry about that. Thanks for the information, man, but don't call me about no Deontay Wilder scandal stuff. We can't talk about that on the air. That is literally what is going on. So, like I said before, this Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury rematch is going to be one of the biggest scandals in the history of boxing. Just because you don't see it on mainstream media doesn't mean that people are not alarmed. There's just a whole bunch of people interested in the cover up. But you're not going to be able to cover this up. right? So even though we're talking about the third fight might happen or whatever, yes, the third fight is going to happen. It's going to be clean because everybody involved, Deontay Wilder's side and Tyson Fury's side, do understand what's going on with this whole thing, right? So there won't be no cheating. There's going to be so much stuff going on about, it's going to be so much stuff. The FBI might be at the fight. I'm talking about the FBI. Mulder and them and Scully, they're gonna probably be at the fight, the next fight. Nothing. It's going to be a clean fight. So that's good that it's gonna happen. Right? But bottom line is that rematch that everyone's trying to ignore and Tyson Fury just beat up the guy and Deontay Wilder was really just bad and he's never been good in the first place and he just got beat up. He has no punching power, he has no chin, he gets tired quick. All those people that act like they want to believe that and know damn well that's not the truth, you're gonna have to revisit this. Mark my words. Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. And I'm about here, y'all.